In most of the United States, conservatism is an ideology, it's a value system. In Oklahoma, it's a competitive sport.
Tulsa specifically, but Oklahoma at large, you know, there tends to be not even just a dominant voice, but almost a sole voice.
We live and govern in a state filled with entrenched ideologues.
The voices of low-income Oklahomans, of working Oklahomans are not represented at the Capitol. I felt it was essential that those interests do have a voice, that those perspectives are articulated, but it really has to start with solid, credible, timely policy analysis. I'm David Blatt. I'm Director of Oklahoma Policy Institute. We are a state policy organization whose mission is to promote fair and adequate funding of public services and expansion of economic opportunity for all Oklahomans.
David Blatt is a state treasurer, but he's also an incredible manager, and he has been able to build a team around him, working with him, that will have a long-term impact on this state. We've become very polarized. And as a result, a lot of the analysis is very biased.
The great thing about David Blatt and OK Policy is they come at it from a nonpartisan point of view and simply lay out the facts and hopefully allow the lawmakers to decide what the proper course of action really is.
A lot of people kind of take the attitude that the other side is unpersuadable and they're, you know, either evil or corrupt or stupid, and it's a really unproductive way to communicate.
We're a red state. I mean, I'm a Republican, right? But the conservatives I know, really do care about people. But they may get a position that they end up taking that's fairly hard line. And a lot of times it's because they don't really know what the real facts are.
And that's where Oklahoma Policy Institute comes in. They managed to lift up and analyze and show us the things that can make a huge difference in quality of life for Oklahomans.
We want great things for the people of Oklahoma, wherever you are in the political spectrum. OPI, I think, does a very good job of presenting a viewpoint, first off, that's based on good, sound information. But secondly, may or may not be something that's being offered in the mainstream of Oklahoma thought. That doesn't make it good or bad, it makes it unique, it makes an alternative. I oftentimes disagree with the OPI, but I always accept them as being a credible source and one that is thoughtful.
I'm really proud of Dave, Jean, and Megan, all the work they did around income tax cuts.
For us, the income tax debate was a simply fundamental issue.
They were, trying to promise a free lunch, basically, that you could cut taxes and the huge growth as a result would make it pay for itself, and so you wouldn't have to, find a trade-off by cutting schools or by eliminating important credit.
We have a lot of programs that sound fantastic that the public doesn't understand who and where that money's coming from to pay for it, and it's robbing Peter to pay Paul.
On this one, our role was broader than simply being the source of information. We also, in many ways, led the battle, worked directly at the Capitol with legislators.
For the very specific work that I do, I'm all we've got. And I don't have the background or the capacity to do the research and analysis to really back up and make the case for why our mission is still relevant. OK Policy was able to sort of slog through, an incredible volume of data that showed indicators of all kinds, from health outcomes to educational access and achievement to homeownership, and really synthesize and compile that into an understandable format. We're able to take that and use that. It enables us to do what we do in ways that we never would be able to do on our own.
For 20 years, I was the director of the Oklahoma Institute for Child Advocacy, so I worked on lots of different policy initiatives at the Capitol. I mostly did that with stories drawn from parents and teachers and pediatricians and child welfare workers. And I didn't really have an appreciation for the power of numbers. That's what Oklahoma Policy does for us. It brings us those numbers that help us build the case for change.
I can't think of another organization in the state where you could get more bang for your buck. I mean, policy change is something that has a ripple effect that no service and program will ever be able to do, and amplifies the the philanthropy and programs and direct service work of other organizations, because it creates a more hospitable environment for the work that they do.
Being able to use the facts and figures that OK Policy provides helps us to craft an agenda that we believe is progressive for the state, for the people who need help the most, and one that will balance the interests of all involved.
The way I've always described it from the beginning was that it should be the irrefutable conscience of the state. This organization needs to exist, and it serves a role that is really crucial.
As I go out and talk to people in the community and at the Capitol, to hear people say that they are grateful for the work that OK Policy does, to hear them say, we don't know what we do without you guys, that is extremely gratifying and certainly helps me get to work every day and do what can be tough but is very rewarding.
The Oklahoma Policy Institute really is here to stay, and it will be a voice in Oklahoma policy debates for quite some time.